Welcome to Enchanted Moments podcast. I'm Monica.
I'm Spencer.
And this podcast is about Halloween. So happy Halloween, a little early.
And Samhain.
And so we're going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
We're not going to call it that yet. Halloween has been celebrated since colonial times, but it wasn't very popular in our northern states, Maryland and South, pretty much because of the heavy Protestant influence and anti-witch business in our northern states. The South did some Halloween-y kind of things, more community harvest kind of festivals. There's a lot of crops down in that area as well, so that's what they did. The Europeans brought their ethnic activities with them, so that was more into public events, so that there was like fall festivals, things like that. And since it was typically the last harvest festival, or the last harvest of the season before winter, that's when they did their celebrations. So I mean, we can call it Halloween, but it was probably not called Halloween then. I have a feeling it was not. In the second half of the 1800s, we had a huge influx of Irish because of the potato famine. So they brought a lot of the old Celtic Halloween festival kinds of things with them, and it became more of a Halloween activity with pranks and parties and things like that. And by the beginning of the 20th century, we've sort of had lost all the superstitious business around Halloween. And in the 1920s and 30s, it became a secular party time. So there were parties at home, parties at school, parties in their community. So everybody was celebrating. It just wasn't the door-to-door until the 50s. In 1950s, people started moving out of their homes and onto the streets. It was kind of cool. I was part of that. I remember it well. And that is where we ended up with secular Halloween. The reason we have Halloween at all, for the most part, is because of the old Celtic, which was called Samhain. It's spelled Samhain, Samhain, but it is Samhain or Samhain, depending on what you celebrate. But it is the absolute last harvest festival of the year for the pagan wheel of the year, the 8 Sabbats. It's the last Sabbath. It is when, in that practice, the god dies and the goddess becomes the crone. So she mourns until Yule, when the god is born again, and return of the light, return of the sun, the whole business that, we'll get to that eventually. But basically, this is when the god dies. It's the last harvest festival. It's also the time when we honor, or they honored, the ancestors. So the whole idea of treats came from putting out food for the ancestors outside the home. They really didn't want them inside. I know, spirits in the house, what can you say? And they would light turnips or put candles out on the walkways or nearby so that they would be able to find the food that they had left for them. It's just a really, they didn't have pumpkins, so they're native to America.
So turnips is what they use?
Turnips or candles.
So like carved turnips?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, put little lights in there. It's all about the cycles of life and death at Halloween, at Samhain, because we're talking about the fields are now dead, the last of the harvest comes in, the animals are brought down from the high fields to be put in barns or closer to homes where they can be put in for winter. It's a closing down time. So we suggest a few things for Samhain. It's a good time for releasing what we want to let go of, and since it is basically the end of the year, it's a time to let go of for the new beginnings. So anything you want to get rid of out of your life or let go of, then this is a good time on Halloween to do that. The veil is the thinnest between our dimension and the other dimensions, so it's a good time to do divination. It's a good time to talk to your guides and angels and ancestors, and ask questions. So if you have a group of people and they want to do a seance, it's a great time to do it on Halloween. If you're together anyway, just remember that when you do ask for spirit energy to come into any kind of circle, you protect it, you ask to be protected, and always only ask for what is for the greatest good of everyone in the group. Because you don't want to get the spirit riffraff, who are just waiting around for somebody to go, hey, bring in the spirits, we don't need those guys. We just want specific spirits that are going to bring something for everyone's highest good. So just remember, don't play at having a seance. We recommend, just like with Ouija boards, don't play with a Ouija board. Only do it with the correct mindset, which is protection, asking for your highest good, and only those energies that are going to bring something for your highest good. And then go ahead and do it, and then be sure you close that. Thank them for doing their job, thank them for being there, and then send them on their ways so that you don't have them, just hanging out forever. Plus, it wouldn't be a very kind thing to do to call in a spirit who was maybe not as used to the other side as more, as someone else, and they might get stuck. So let's send them back to where they came from to enjoy their next phase of life. So this time of the year is good for thinking about what you want to bring in the next year as well. So as we let go and release things at Halloween, the next day is a good day to go ahead and bring things in for the new cycle. We're going to do that again at Yule with the burning bowl and some other things, but this is also a good time. If you're releasing things into the universe to be dealt with, then ask for something to replace it. I think whenever you let go of something, you need to bring something in to do, to balance that. So if you're going to let go of things Halloween night, then in the morning or the next evening, then bring some positive things back in to fill the void where you let go of something. Sabbaths are not for work, but releasing and bringing something in is not what I would call heavy spiritual work. It's a time for feasting, so celebrations, parties, and do your own divination as well as if you want to do a group activity. But when you're alone, it's always good to do a tarot reading or ask the ancestors to come and give you information. What do you most need to know going forward? Because it's such an easy time to make contact. We don't want to pass that opportunity by. So I think as we get towards the actual date of Samhain, we feel that the veil is thinning and we're a lot closer to other beings and other information that is probably something we should be tapping into at this part of the year. It's a good time to think of closing down for winter. So it's closing down and going within. Think about yourself as a cave, and then you're going to go in and rest. We're not bears, and we're not going to go and hibernate, but spiritually it's a good time for contemplation. And contemplation is not meditation, it's not focusing on any one thing. It's allowing yourself to daydream and then think about the things that you're daydreaming about. It's just sort of a playful kind of activity. What you might want to bring in, who's doing what, it doesn't really matter. It's just giving that spirit a rest. It's not something that you have to work on, nothing like that. It's just a playful contemplation so that we have that time in the winter when we're not overly stimulated by activities around us as much. Well, come holidays we probably are, I lied. But if you're a farmer, you are closing down for winter.
Right.
You know, the whole aspect of the last harvest is to bring it in, store for winter, and start regenerating for spring activities. So you're resting, you're bringing all that restful, contemplative energy into your life and allowing your spirit to just rest and play, which I think is a really neat way to do it. That way there's no end result, and it's just having fun and thinking. You know, you don't have to worry about, am I going to get something out of this? It's just for the sake of doing it. And I think that's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do a tarot spread, there are some cards. You can lay out 4 cards and you can ask the question for yourself, what do my ancestors have for me? What is it from the past that I should honor? What transformation lies ahead for me? And how can I embrace my spiritual path in the coming year? And of course, that is something we should be asking ourselves all the time, but it's a good time to just pull a card, and then you have all this time in the winter to think about what you got for cards. Write them down, journal them, put them in a book, whatever, or set those cards on your altar, and then use those to actually stimulate your thinking about it through the next few months till we get to Yule. So
Take a picture with your cell phone.
absolutely, that would be me easier. See, I'm not a technical person. I put actual cards around.
Well,
So-
I think the altars, if you have an altar, I think that's probably one of the better.
Yeah, and we should have, I mean, some people do altars based on specific deities, and you can also do altars on times of the year. So if you want to honor your ancestors, you could put family pictures on your altar, some of their favorite things you might have around, and you know, really put some energy of your own into honoring those from our past, because they're very important to who we are. And this is the time of the year to give them some thankfulness and know that we still think about them all the time. So I have an altar for people on my desk. So I have a picture of your mom with Jerry, and I have a picture of Marlise, and I have a picture of my great-great-great-grandmother. And so it's just, every time we look at it, you go, wow, that was so much fun, or that was really a great thing I got from them, or whatever. So it's a stimulation to remember and be thankful and grateful for all the things that they brought into your lives. So do you have anything to add about Samhain? No?
Not really.
We definitely don't want any negativity around Samhain. I think because of the veil being the thinnest, we also draw towards us anything that we identify with. And so you don't want to bring in any negative information or any negative entities or anybody who isn't going to add something positive to your life. So be sure that whatever you do at Samhain is positive and asking for your highest good, so that we know, even by mistake, ask anything that is not going to be for our highest good to enter into our space. And then have a great time.
Yeah.
We love Halloween. It's party time. You get to dress up. It's like Christmas without the presents. So it should be no stress. You don't have to buy anything for anybody. You can just cook and eat and play with your friends.
Yep.
I think that's a great way to do it. Thanks for sharing with us. Until next time, live in love and light.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.